Welcome back to Attic to Basement Estate Cleanouts with Raccoons. More about the name later. Today I wanted to talk about clients. This was after a 3-hour session in Washington, D.C. But when I was asked to work with a couple in Luthersville, Maryland, he had been a partner in a law firm, and they owned a beautiful house with 2 master bedrooms and a beautiful front yard. It was the first house I saw with a heated bathroom floor. They each had their own master bedroom and 1 large bathroom between the bedrooms. I thought that heated floor was the height of luxury, and I finally got a heated floor in our new house this last year, and I love it. It's a ceramic floor, and the heat can be programmed to be warmer in the morning when we get up and then cools down until evening when it heats up again for when we get ready for bed. This couple was moving into a senior complex, and I worked with them 20 times over 5 months. They didn't have children and were a wonderful couple. I sorted through every room in the house with the wife and sometimes worked with the husband. I packed up items they wanted to take with them to their new apartment and unpacked them once the movers brought all their things to Mercy Ridge. They tipped the moving crew, the crew that picked up the auctioned items, and me. That was the only time I got paid an hourly rate and a tip. I had worked with them so often I offered to drop my hourly rate and they wouldn't let me. They even asked me to address their Christmas cards. I hope they are still enjoying their life. They bought 2 apartments and had them joined together so they could each continue having their own master bedroom. Their own home in Luthersville sold for $630,000 in 2001 and is now worth $681,000. In 2001, I worked with 45 clients. My business was in its infancy and I did quite a lot of the work myself. The next client in 2001 turned out to be a repeat client. He had served in World War II on a bomber. I helped him go through his 1,600 square foot home in Silver Spring where he raised his kids with his wife. His wife had died several years before, after a long illness. She had a caretaker during the day while he worked, but as soon as he got home from work, he took over those duties. He did this for years. His daughters lived too far away to come weekly to help, plus they had full-time jobs. He and I didn't start out well. First day I worked with him, he asked me a question about something I picked up in the house, and I couldn't tell him what it was. He let me know he didn't think much of me. I worked with him in his house getting it ready and moved into the new home, which took 16 hours of my time. Of course, the refrigerator started leaking water the week before he went to settlement, and he had to replace it in his house. Don't be surprised if the furnace stops working or a pipe or a toilet springs a leak while the house is on the market. I think it's the house letting you know that it doesn't like the changes going on. He sold his house for $185,000 in 2001, and it's worth $330,000 today. Some of the money he received from the sale of his house went to a senior continuing care complex in Silver Spring. He had a nice 1-bedroom apartment. He had been in plays at the Silver Spring Theater and continued to participate in those and at shows at the continuing care complex. He tucked his napkin into his collar at the dinner table in the dining room, and I heard some people didn't want to sit with him because he was loud, opinionated, and talkative. I came to treat him like an uncle, and I think he trusted me because he called me again in 2003 as his health was declining, and he had to move out of the apartment into a studio apartment in the assisted living area. That actually took 20 hours as I didn't have him to help me. I sold some of his books and donated the rest of the books. I sent the book Treasure Island to his daughter. An elementary teacher had given it to him with a note many decades before, and he wanted his daughter to hold on to it for him. 3 years after that, I was called in by his daughters to clear out the studio apartment as he had moved into the nursing home area of the complex. He was sitting in a chair in his little room and was not very talkative, but he knew I was there and who I was. I went back a few weeks later and he was in bed and did not talk at all. He was quite a character and I won't forget him. Because of his theater training, he taught me to take a breath at the end of each sentence when public speaking and a longer pause at the end of each paragraph. Can't really always see that very well, huh? But it's an organizing joke cartoon from Sally Forth. Okay, time to clean up this garage once and for all, she says. And we'll start by throwing out. And the husband says, no, we can't. I didn't specify anything yet, she goes. He says, I know, but your hand was hovering over a box and that's never a good sign. Today, I want to talk about what makes me good at my job. My mom was organized. She couldn't leave the house without putting the newspaper sections back in alphabetical order. I got used to living in that kind of organized, neat space and liked it. My husband told me after we started dating that one reason why he liked me was because I had the neatest apartment of any girl he dated. I didn't know that at the beginning, but his mom told me he was so neat at age 5, he got to put away his own clothing. He didn't want his mother to do it for him. You need to be a little obsessive about neatness in my line of work. You need to be able to go up to strangers and talk about your business. This can be done at networking events where you might be meeting homeowners, social workers, realtors, lawyers, therapists, moms with young kids, and people who have busy careers and can afford to pay someone to do the organizing for them. Whether it's rearranging a closet or writing out Christmas cards or emptying a house. Their job takes so much of their time that they want it done and are willing to pay someone to do it efficiently. You need to be able to research places to drop off charity items. Is it a legitimate charity? Will they help you unload the car, or are you on your own in all types of weather? You can buy boxes to put charity items in and pass along the cost to the client, or you can go to the liquor store near you that will give you free boxes after they unpack their delivery bottles. You get free boxes and you don't have to break them down. They don't have to cart them to the dumpster. My favorite place for boxes was next door to the giant grocery store where I grocery shopped every week. I would chuckle at what my neighbors thought if they recognized my red SUV parked in front of the liquor store regularly. You need to be prompt and courteous. When I was doing estate cleanouts, people would take off time from work or drive to meet me at a house, and they had other places they'd rather be. So I need to be on time for our appointment and ask any questions that would help me get the job done without having to bother them later with questions. This wasn't always possible, but after a while the same things came up over and over again. So I asked a lot of the same questions, like, is there a deadline? Are there any kids who would like any of the items? Do they need things shipped to another location? Do you care what charity things get taken to at the end of the day? Most didn't, but sometimes I'd be asked to take things just to the Humane Society thrift store or the Hadassah shop. Is there anything I should be on the lookout for? Something you can't find. Sometimes it was savings bonds or car titles. Sometimes it was a certain vase or a train set that they hadn't seen in years but would like to keep. We usually work 9:30 to 3:30 Monday through Friday to avoid rush hour traffic around Washington, D.C. One of the nice things was if there was a horrible traffic or a snowstorm, there was no one at the house we worked at. I had a key, and if we started 10 to 20 minutes late, we could just work 10 to 20 minutes later in the day. Or we could cancel if the snow was so bad that we wouldn't be able to pull into their driveway at the house. I only had to shovel once or twice because the other times we just postponed until the next day after it stopped snowing. Also, if something came up and I could only work half a day, that was fine with the client, as I was letting myself in with the key they gave me. Once we did an initial walkthrough, I usually didn't see them at the house again. I would deliver papers, photographs, or special items to their home or office. If there wasn't anything like that, I would just mail them my invoice from my company at the end of the job. Well, that's enough for today. Please watch my other episodes to hear more about a few of my 800 clients and tips on estate cleanouts.